Welcome to History with Herodotus, where we delve into the fascinating tales of our collective past. In the depths of the Great Depression, as millions upon millions of Americans struggled to find their footing, a beacon of hope emerged in the form of an innovative program designed to conserve our natural resources while providing employment and education to those most in need. The Civilian Conservation Corps, or CCC, was more than just a New Deal initiative. It was a testament to the power of human ingenuity and the unwavering commitment to preserving the beauty and wonder of our planet. It is the year 1929, and the world is on the cusp of unprecedented economic hardship. The stock market has crashed, leaving in its wake a trail of devastation that would soon engulf the entire nation. Banks are failing, businesses are shutting down, and the once thriving industrial landscape of America lies idle and still. Against this backdrop of despair, a young Franklin D. Roosevelt, then the governor of New York, begins to formulate a vision for a comprehensive program aimed at addressing the dual crises of unemployment and environmental degradation. Inspired by the conservation efforts of his predecessor, Theodore Roosevelt, FDR becomes increasingly convinced that the key to revitalizing America's economy and spirit lies in harnessing the power of its natural resources. As the economic situation continues to deteriorate, Roosevelt's resolve to tackle these interconnected challenges only intensifies. Upon his election as president in 1932, he swiftly sets about assembling a team of advisors and experts to help him develop a bold new initiative that would combine job creation, environmental conservation, and youth education into a single, cohesive program. One of the key figures Roosevelt turns to is Robert Fechner, a seasoned labor leader with a deep understanding of the needs and aspirations of American workers. Fechner's expertise proves invaluable as the president's team begins to flesh out the details of what would eventually become the Civilian Conservation Corps. Through a series of intense discussions and debates, the parameters of the program start to take shape, with a focus on recruiting young men from disadvantaged backgrounds and providing them with meaningful work, vocational training, and a sense of purpose. As the planning phase reaches its climax, Roosevelt's administration begins to identify potential locations for the CCC's inaugural camps. The president himself becomes closely involved in this process, drawing upon his extensive knowledge of America's natural wonders to select sites that would not only provide ample opportunities for conservation work, but also inspire a sense of awe and wonder in the young men who would soon be arriving at these camps. As the planning phase drew to a close, Roosevelt's administration officially established the Civilian Conservation Corps on April 5, 1933, with the signing of Executive Order 61001. This landmark legislation marked the beginning of an extraordinary chapter in American history, one that would witness the transformation of millions of acres of public land and the lives of nearly 3 million young men. The first CCC camp, known as Camp Roosevelt, was inaugurated on April 17, 1933, in George Washington National Forest, Virginia, with an initial enrollment of 200 men. This pioneering camp set the tone for the entire program, with its emphasis on rigorous physical labor, vocational training, and environmental conservation. Under the leadership of Robert Fechner, who had been appointed as the director of the CCC, the program expanded rapidly, with new camps sprouting up across the country at an astonishing rate. By the summer of 1933, there were already over 1,300 CCC camps in operation, employing more than 250,000 young men in a wide range of conservation projects, including forestry, soil erosion control, and wildlife management. One notable example of the CCC's early successes was the construction of the Skyline Drive in Shenandoah National Park, Virginia, which commenced in June 1933 and would eventually stretch for over 100 miles, providing breathtaking views of the Blue Ridge Mountains. As the months passed, the CCC continued to grow and evolve, with an increasing focus on education and job training. In addition to their conservation work, enrollees were offered a range of vocational courses, including forestry, agriculture, and mechanics, as well as basic education classes in reading, writing, and arithmetic. This commitment to education was reflected in the words of President Roosevelt, who declared, the Civilian Conservation Corps is not merely a relief program, but an opportunity for young men to develop their skills, their character, and their citizenship. By the end of 1933, over 50,000 CCC enrollees had already taken advantage of these educational opportunities, with many more set to follow in their footsteps. The winter of 1933-34 proved to be a particularly challenging period for the CCC, as harsh weather conditions and limited infrastructure put a strain on the program's resources. Nevertheless, the enrollees persevered, demonstrating remarkable resilience and dedication to their work. One notable example of this was the CCC's response to the devastating floods that struck the Ohio River Valley in January 1934, where thousands of enrollees worked tirelessly to provide emergency relief and repair damaged infrastructure. This heroic effort not only helped to mitigate the effects of the disaster, but also earned the CCC widespread recognition and acclaim. As the program entered its second year, the CCC continued to expand and diversify, with new camps and projects springing up across the country. In April 1934, the CCC launched a major initiative to combat soil erosion in the Great Plains, where thousands of acres of land had been devastated by the devastating Dust Bowl. This effort, which involved the construction of terraces, check dams, and other conservation structures, would eventually help to restore millions of acres of degraded land and provide a vital lifeline for struggling farmers and communities. By the summer of 1934, the CCC had already made significant progress in this endeavor, with over 100,000 acres of land rehabilitated and thousands of families benefiting from the program's conservation efforts. The summer of 1934 also witnessed the launch of the CCC's Indian Division, which was established to provide employment and training opportunities for Native American youth. This innovative program, which was administered in cooperation with the Bureau of Indian Affairs, would eventually enroll over 80,000 Native American men and women, providing them with valuable skills and experience in conservation, agriculture, and crafts. One notable example of the Indian Division's successes was the development of the Navajo Reservation in Arizona, where CCC enrollees worked to construct roads, buildings, and other infrastructure, while also helping to preserve traditional Navajo culture and customs. As the Indian Division of the Civilian Conservation Corps continued to thrive, the program as a whole began to face new challenges and uncertainties. By 1935, the CCC had already achieved many of its initial goals, including the employment of over 500,000 young men and the completion of countless conservation projects across the country. However, with the Great Depression slowly beginning to recede, Congress started to reevaluate the program's funding and purpose. Despite these challenges, the CCC remained a vital part of American life, with many enrollees going on to become leaders in their communities and champions of environmental conservation. One notable example of the CCC's lasting impact was the development of the nation's park system. The program had played a crucial role in the construction of facilities, trails, and infrastructure in many of America's national and state parks, including the Grand Canyon, Yellowstone, and Yosemite. As President Roosevelt once said, the Civilian Conservation Corps has not only conserved our natural resources, but has also helped to conserve the character of our young men. This legacy can still be seen today, with many of these parks remaining popular destinations for outdoor enthusiasts and nature lovers. As World War II loomed on the horizon, the CCC began to wind down its operations. In June 1942, Congress officially disbanded the program, and many of its enrollees went on to serve in the military. Although the CCC was no longer in operation, its impact continued to be felt. The program had helped to shape a generation of Americans, instilling in them a sense of civic duty, environmental stewardship, and personal responsibility. As historian John Salmond has noted, the Civilian Conservation Corps was more than just a relief program. It was an experiment in democracy, an attempt to create a new kind of citizen, one who was not only self-reliant, but also socially conscious. Today, the Civilian Conservation Corps is remembered as one of the most innovative and effective programs of the New Deal era. Its legacy can be seen in the many parks, forests, and wildlife refuges that it helped to establish, as well as in the countless lives that it touched. The Civilian Conservation Corps may have concluded its operations over 75 years ago, but its impact continues to be felt. The program's emphasis on environmental conservation, community development, and personal responsibility remains as relevant today as it was during the Great Depression. As we face the challenges of the 21st century, including climate change, social inequality, and economic uncertainty, we would do well to remember the lessons of the CCC and to strive for a similar sense of purpose and collective action. That's all for today's History with Herodotus. Remember to like, share, and subscribe. And until next time, remember that to understand the present, we must first understand the past.